Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for the last several years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, thanks to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror and Halloween genre, but does amazing commission pieces of any sort. So tonight you asked, yes, we delivered, of course. Stephen Bassett returns, and we're going to get some current news on what's going on with disclosure, the continued speculations of Three Eye Atlas, and so much more. And above all else, again, guys, Q&A. So get your questions ready and we shall get the show started. Big thanks to everyone who's tuning in right now. Hi, Collie. How are you? Stone Hobbit all the way from Australia. Hello, 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 Janie. Hello, big thank you, or big hello to Steve. There we go. Thank you for reposting on X. Thank you, Mark. Hello, Heidi. So just a reminder, guys, that we are on 2 Facebook streams tonight. We are on 3 YouTube platforms. We are on X. We are on Rumble. We are on Roku. So simultaneously, everything except for Roku has a chat room and we can see it all. Don't be shy. Last night we had almost 50 or 60 people just on X alone and nobody was talking, but I could see you. So anyway, don't be shy. Please feel free to ask any questions. So without further ado, Steve Bassett, how are you?
I am fine.
Well, so glad to have you back. Right. Ran out of time last time and people were starting to get hostile. So
we can't have that.
We cannot have that. No. So we figured, okay, we're just going to leave quite a bit of time for, for questions if they happen to come up. And I have no doubt that they will. Mm-hmm. People are already chiming in, which is wonderful. Where do we want to start? Last time, we left off with a boatload of questions. We left off with different updates and, here we go. Wayne, hello. So what's new in the world of Congress and disclosure? I know it's always something. It never stops. So I have to ask.
Over these last 30 years, I've thought many times, how is it going to be in the last days, weeks, months of this somewhat bizarre, trying, irritating, often arrogant decision of the United States government to keep from the citizens of the country the most important information they'll probably, that any generation now or previous was ever going to have access to, long after there was no justification really at all. And I tell you, I didn't expect this. This was not on my bingo card as possibilities.
Wow.
And so here we are on the, this is the 79th year of the, no, 79. See, this is 78th year
Mhm.
of the post Roswell era, when we had a craft, we had bodies. No later than that.
Right.
Put out a press release. We got something, and
Right.
then the government started moving in and deciding what to do on our behalf, what we could handle, and all
Yeah.
of that. And
Yeah.
it's now 80 years later.
Wow.
And what is the situation as we approach what could be the end of this era?
Mm.
We are in the middle of what will be one of the most intensive, controversial, dangerous scandals, right? Which is not the same thing as,
Yeah.
tense time, right? It's not the same thing as, well, leading up to war. That's tough too. I'm just talking scandal, and most people know what one means when they say scandal.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime.
Mhm.
I can't imagine anybody who has. Now, I can't refer to other countries,
Yeah.
but we kind of know about what's going on outside our country. This is going to be huge.
Mhm.
It's going to literally overwhelm and dominate the public space and the media for the next, well, through the end of the year. Let's just go through December 31
Mhm.
and likely into January.
Okay.
There's so many people involved, so
Mhm.
many legacies at risk, including large-scale political legacies, policy, and everything else. I do not know how it's going to end up,
Mhm.
but along the way, it's going to be pretty intense, and some things may happen
Mhm.
that are not good. In other words, we go, oh God, why? Oh no. But this is the kind of situation that can trigger events that you could not foresee, but there they are. And
Right.
in the middle of all of this, and by the way, it's extremely partisan by and large. And on top of everything else that's out there in the world, particularly the foreign issues and so forth, on top of all of that, and in the middle of this,
Yeah.
we're slowly heading toward what is a logical end to the truth embargo, as I came to call it in 2022, the
Mhm.
formal decision by the U.S. government to embargo the truth, not they lie, but it's not they're embargoing it. And
Yeah.
it becomes an embargo the more and more people learn that it is in fact true. In other words, as people come to understand that truth moving forward in time from 47, it goes from being just a secret, right? Classified. You don't even know about it. You don't even know that you don't know about it, to
Mhm.
being, well, yeah, clearly it's true, but we're not going to acknowledge it. That's why it's much more of an embargo.
Mhm.
80 years on, it could end. So that is I tell you, it's a stressing situation for most of the people in this field.
Yes.
Almost everybody I know, it's not easy.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
as we get more success and dealing with Congress and all of the egos and sensitivities there, and the potential political issues and risks, you got witnesses getting threats and what have you. And you've got Hollywood trying to get involved. And my Lord, there's no bigger egos in the world than there.
Not
It's
wrong.
like you and you're just a little political activist, been sailing in that boat.
Mhm.
You're going, oh my God, you get seasick. You don't know what to do. Now, some
Mhm.
people are in a position to navigate all of this, no problem. Got a big ship, right? It's got those stabilizer things that the cruise ships have, and it's just cruising along.
Yeah.
But for me and a lot of colleagues, it's like, my Lord, we got to somehow keep our head while all others are losing theirs. So here is where we are as we approach the end of 2000. I'm really going to be trying to be short on this. We are waiting for the fourth major hearing on the subject. It could happen by the end of the year,
Mhm.
but primarily because it would happen because a lot of people are desperately looking for something that's not involved in this other issue
Mhm.
that people can focus on and feel a little more positive about. But I can make a good case that it probably can happen, though we felt it might, until next year. So we have to think about January.
Mhm.
We have had enormous amount of press on the issue, without question. That has been fairly steady. Thousands
Mhm.
of articles over the last few years.
Mm.
We have witnesses coming forward. We have oftentimes on social media. We have lots of new research that's turning up Some are breakthrough. Certainly, we have more members of Congress on record publicly making very clear and positive statements about the fact that this is real and important.
It was very positive.
And extraterrestrial, yeah.
Mm.
That's significant.
Mm-hmm.
And we have legislation in place, 3 acts.
Mm-hmm.
The third one having been cut in half, but that has been resubmitted 3 times, possibly 4. It is still in play. It might be introduced in the House. I've heard Eric Burleson might again sponsor a submission of the UAP Disclosure Act, the full package, into the House. That could have changed. I mean, everything is changing every day, it seems. And the reason this might be a little different than last year when it went nowhere is that a significant change in the UAP Disclosure Act, political change, I guess, is not serious in terms of the act being put into place to do what it's supposed to do, which is to, in an orderly fashion, get everything out of the private world, the secret world, and into the National Archives and our world. Seriously, everything. And that is that they changed the presidential review panel to a congressional review panel. In other words, it's being appointed not under the president, but by the House and the Senate. And this has the benefit of ensuring that the selection will be as nonpartisan as possible, or certainly that the panel, which is an absolutely important panel, this is the panel that makes the decision. Yeah, those bodies of ETs can come forward now. Let's get those out, get an ambulance, bring them over, or no, we can't have that. So this may be a factor. So that is happening. All right. And of course, we have a documentary that premieres tomorrow in Washington. Apparently it premiered in New York 19th. That would have been yesterday. They just moved it up. No big deal. It's going to be airing in 3 theaters for the next week or so. Interesting enough, it's a group of theaters that are, I don't know if they're art house or just kind of a private little group called the Angelica Theaters. Right. And they're kind of cool. It's not the same kind of atmosphere, but and while they're not huge, they are
word gets around. Word gets around.
Legitimate theaters.
Yeah.
And that is important because this will be the first documentary ever on this subject that could be nominated for an Oscar. They have met the qualifications.
Wow.
And it's the first to get what we'll call an official screening, even though it's only 3 theaters. We should have had docs on this subject getting 1,000, 2,000 screens. That's a whole nother issue. But so it's a first in that regard. And we'll talk about it in a second.
Yes.
So that is happening. So all of this, public awareness, witnesses, Congress, legislation, all of that. And of course, it's being covered by scores of podcasts. So it's getting tons of podcast attention, which is the new major, soon to be dominant media, I believe it or not. Wouldn't surprise me if all the networks are gone in a few years and they're all operating in a podcast environment somehow. I don't know. But so this is great, right?
Yeah, that's great.
So the long and the short, there's 2 things I'll try to get across very quickly here, which are very at the core of the understanding I would suggest people have. And there's a lot of confusion about these 2 things. But the first one is all of that's going on now, the witnesses coming forward, the hearings that are taking place under oath, the legislation and so forth, is not about getting you all that information you wanted now. So if somebody goes in front of a committee and doesn't start giving you all the goodies that you want, or says that I can't discuss that because I don't have clearance, everybody throws their hands up in the air and they go, this is a fraud. This is not true. That's because they think that that's what this is about. It's not. All of this is essentially an orchestrated, I'm using that in a positive way, relatively logical, responsible process to set up the president so he can confirm that this is not just real, but extraterrestrial or advanced non-human technology. That is what this is about. Because without all of this, I guess you could say, preparation and these things in place, and a statement like that from the president would be difficult, irresponsible to some degree, probably wouldn't go well, and dangerous, and they're not going to do it. So that's what this is about. The stuff you really want to know is not going to come out in the next hearing. It's going to come out after the confirmation of the extraterrestrial presence, that is disclosure with a capital D by the president. Or, well, the president either first in the world, which would be, I think, preferable, or second or third to a couple of other heads of state that have decided enough is enough, and they've come out, made the statement, and then quickly the government backed it up. That is what this is about. Okay.
Yeah.
And the what was the second thing? Escaped me for a second. I'll get it back. So that's extremely important. And so, the other thing that's important is that with that in mind, I believe enough has been accomplished, enough legislation, enough hearings, enough briefings on the Hill, enough witnesses under oath, as well as coming in the public sector, enough articles covering it in the right way, enough statements by members of Congress, public statements on camera. Enough of that has happened that the president could, in fact, step out tomorrow and just end this embargo once and for all. In other words, sit down in the Oval Office, no press, one camera, two cameras, whatever, and say, my fellow Americans, I'm aware of what's going on. I've been watching this and I've made inquiries, and we're not alone. We have advanced non-human technology and advanced non-humans in our world. I know you want to know a lot about that, and we're going to start getting that information to you starting tomorrow, but not tonight. You needed to know that. That's all you need to know this evening. Chill, have a glass of wine. I'm going to go to bed. All right. That's it. The president could do it tomorrow, and the political cost would be zero. The potential political benefits, profound. If the president were to do this, there would be a virtually a forever legacy.
Do you think that he just feels there's more pressing things?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the stage is set. All right. So the president would get an enormous legacy, very positive reviews, almost certainly a Nobel Prize. And so the idea that people are going to go, they get all upset. No. And though those that do not necessarily have confidence in what the president says, and I understand that, so they would be going, nah, I don't think so. Right? I get it. Other heads of state will follow pretty fast, and so after a few more heads of state come in with their own evidence capabilities, people will go, my God, it's true. And so no blowback, incredible positive gains for the president. So when I say it could happen tomorrow, I'm damn serious. Now, we also know that his son is involved in the issue. Had Louis Elizondo and Coulthard on his show just before the inauguration. Gabbard has come out and spoken positively to it. Luna has gone on a podcast, not just any podcast, she went on Rogan and spoke about it and what she's been saying and hearing and so forth. And then J.D. Vance, which is particularly interesting, did something that vice president's never done. He went on another podcast, I think it was the Ruthless podcast, and said he's obsessed with UFOs. And then he went on another podcast, Podcast One, Pod Force One, and it's kind of repeated that and just going out of his way to mention that his very good friend Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, former chairman of the ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, is also into the issue, which of course we know. And so the fact is, it is bouncing around the White House. It is in play. It's been in play for some time. Don't be surprised that that's not really leaking out or anything. There's other things that are garnishing attention. So we are at that place. So those are the two things one needs to know. So let me take a break and pop a couple of questions my way.
Yeah, well, it's just right now there's just a lot of comments coming up, like the president being a temporary employee. I think he'd have to have the go-ahead. Well, he's got here CIA, but I imagine there's other, this would be considered pretty classified. He would have to get, I'm sure, positive feedback from different people or organizations within his government to be able to do this without getting too much flack for it.
Well, let me say this. He doesn't have to get permission from the CIA. He's the commander in chief. He doesn't have to get permission from anybody.
Yeah.
And secondly, there has been plenty of time
Yeah.
for the president to get a little feedback. He has appointed people to these key entities who are extremely cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
So getting feedback would be no problem whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
It never really has been the case, except that the truth embargo had enough justification that the Department of Defense, primarily, and other agencies were able to convince presidents, and they all knew there was something. They all knew that there was something here, that there was a non-human presence, to stand down on it, and they did. But that's not the case now. And this president is the kind of president that will do whatever he wants. I think that's well established.
Oh yeah, he's all about doing it his way.
So it could happen tomorrow. So I
Yeah.
wanted you to know those two things. So
Okay.
I got more, but let's take a couple more
No,
comments.
let's go. I'm just flagging them, so take your time and go.
Okay. All right. I have to keep looking down here at these puppies.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'll
Okay,
I'm flagging them. We'll get to everybody.
A big deal tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, is the premiere of the Age of Disclosure documentary in Washington. I will be down there for the 8:30 show.
Yeah.
I think some people are getting together at J&J Pizza just prior to that. The 6 o'clock show is also sold out, but as you go 3:30 and before, I think there's lots of seats. And then I think they're showing it during the week. So there's plenty of time for people to go watch it.
Yeah.
Now, as I said before, this is a breakthrough documentary that's doing some things no other doc has done on this subject. And as an activist tool, it is huge, as I have stated. It's an extremely significant documentary. And if it gets, and for that reason, it could well get a nomination for the Oscar. However, in terms of, I don't know, the total wonderfulness of it, I mean, docs can have all kinds of templates and so forth, and they can be high production, but yet still not meet that nomination level, whatever. But I think this is nominated on the basis of its importance, right? It's incredibly important, and that's a factor in that. However, that importance may not become manifest until a little later, maybe early next year, which is time enough to get a nomination. Okay. Now, why is it important? It is quite simply the largest, most substantive collection of individuals with rank and station, career, ever put together in a single document, speaking clear and positive to this issue, confirmatory to this issue. Nothing else has come close. 34 witnesses. And people say, oh, yeah, I've seen witnesses. I've seen them. They're always turning up. Same old, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But let's be reasonable here. Here is who is in this documentary people will be seeing, for the rest of this year. And as it goes on sale tomorrow as well, and rental on Amazon worldwide, who knows how many people are going to download it, or rather rent it. So here is what we're talking about. Let me just bring this up. Did I have it? No, it's right here. Just take a second. Come on down. I'm going to grab these. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, we have 7 sitting members of Congress, 3 senators, and 4 members of Congress, congresspersons, and 1 recently a member of Congress. And they're not just any senators, right? We're talking about former Senator Rubio, Secretary of State, Senator Gillibrand, who ran for president, Senator Mike Rounds, and by the way, Rubio, Republican, Gillibrand, Democrat, Rounds, who was part of the co-author of the UAP Disclosure Act, Republican. And then in the Congress, we have Congresswoman Luna, who is the chairman of the task force to declassify government secrets, which is help to get us the Epstein files, the JFK files, RFK files. That's a pretty important job she has, and she's actually delivering. She's in there. Tim Burchett, who has been talking about this issue ahead of most everybody else, matter-of-factly going on News Nation and Fox News and saying, there's ETs here in one form or another, right? It's real. They're here. They're saucers, etc. Absolutely without any political blowback. And then we have Dan Crenshaw, Democrat, Burchett, of course, Republican, and then Mike Gallagher, Democrat, who is a former congressman, and he's speaking. So it's bipartisan, and it's heavy duty politicians, not one or two, 7. And people say, well, so what? Well, I'm sorry. If you don't get how important that is, I'm not going to be able to get across it.
Yeah.
And then we have the military. What military? Jim Clapper, General. David Fravor, Commander, Navy. Tim Gallaudet, Admiral, Navy. Robert Salas, Captain, Air Force. Carl Nell, Colonel, Army. Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, Air Force. Lieutenant Ryan Graves, Air Force. And Lou Elizondo, who was military.
Yeah.
This is a lot of high-level military people going on camera. They're going to say things that are pretty clear what the hell they're meaning. They're going to be seen by millions and millions of people, and it's on the record. They may end up having to, sit and watch it get an Academy Award one day. This is not something you do if you're really unsure about what you're saying or convinced that, well, it's going to ruin my life. No. Your legacy is hanging on this almost. So
That's right. Yeah. Legacy, reputation.
And then we have the political arena and what I call the private, not private, but, the civilian service individuals, such as Christopher Mellon, Mike Gold, Jim Semivan is, of course, intelligence. And then we have some academics, research types. Gary Nolan, PhD, Hal Puthoff, PhD, Eric Davis, PhD, and Travis Taylor. And Puthoff and Davis go way, way, way back in this issue when it was classified on top of classified, when it was covered up and whatever you want to say. And they played game with this and they put stuff out. And so it was a crazy and wild time. And those from that era trying to get out in the modern era, it's tricky, right? But ultimately, they were in the programs that were classified related to what the presence of these non-humans and their craft created, and they can speak to it firsthand. 34, right? Oh, and I think I left out Robert Salas. Robert Salas is, I think I did get him. Did I get him? Yeah, I did. He's important because he is increasingly close to getting the opportunity to testify under oath before a committee, very likely with two or three other nuclear tampering witnesses. First-hand testimony to the shutting down of our ICBMs. They've been wanting to testify for about 30 years. Wow. The DOD is petrified that would happen. That'll be the most difficult testimony the DOD will ever have to deal with, but I'm afraid it's inevitable. And so this is going to give him some more presence. He has been interviewed by Burleson. He's been interviewed by Mace. The committee, the task force, and even the Senate Intel Committee has the files and witness statements of these gentlemen. There were many more at one time, but they're dying off. And every time one dies, the DOD puts a little check mark on a board and goes, well, that's one more. Pretty soon there won't be any more left. And we just won't have to deal with this or be accountable. And that is not going to happen. So this film is it's not a matter of whether anybody has heard any of this before or not. That's irrelevant.
It's the testimony.
It is the totality of the testimony. It is the rank and station and careers of the people that are making it. It's not just Admiral Nordhill Norton saying something that was pretty indicative. I don't know how many years ago, 40, 50 years ago, or Edgar Mitchell, God bless him, standing in front of the cameras at one of my press conferences at the National Press Club and telling CNN face to face that, and the other journalists there, that there's a non-human presence. This isn't that. This is 34 people in this time when the issue is advanced this far, making these statements. Well done, high, very high production values, obviously edited to give it maximum impact. And I don't care if people are entertained or not entertained. All I'm saying is that this thing is a sledgehammer to the truth embargo. And how the DOD is going to handle this, I don't know.
Probably not well.
Probably not well. No. And then to finish up on that, the reviews have started. The New York Times landed a review yesterday, and which is not good. And I'll comment on that in a second. Okay. But then it also ran an excellent article by lead journalist Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal. In other words, a little balance. Okay. Of course, Leslie and Ralph know a great deal about this issue. And the review writer, the film critic, knows nothing. and it's silly, it's ridiculous. I'm not going to read it, but go read it, and you'll basically it'll take you back to about 1960,
Mm-hmm.
1970, where people would just write the usual stuff, knowing that there's nothing to this, and I'm just going to have a little fun, or I'm going to point out why it's so stupid, and you're out of your mind, whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, a throwback, which is not a good look
Yeah.
for anybody writing in a major paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I knew this was coming, and so I put a post out on my social media. I'm on X at Steve Bassett. Follow me, please. Love those follows. And let me just read what I wrote. Now, I actually put up what I wrote, and then I had it run through AI Copilot to give it a more sophisticated, an intelligent presence. I won't read that, but and I think that's valuable. Except that I'm me, and I like to say
I
things.
just gave you a
like
follow.
me,
Go ahead.
But I put them both out there just to be nice. And let's see. Hang on a second. Let me get this baby.
Yeah.
No, it's not here. It's going to be here. Come here and here. And I'm going to read this slow because I want this to sink in.
Yeah.
All right. Wait a minute. Here it is. Okay. Public service announcement. You will soon learn the collective genre known as film critics is profoundly ignorant regarding the 80-year history of the UAP ET phenomena, the truth embargo, and the disclosure process. Therefore, they are operating from a worldview filled with the nonsensical debunkery generated by the state and the professional skeptics. Their reviews of films on these subjects that manage to rise to the level of their attention, right? Their reviews of films that rise to their attention will be lathered up with this ignorance. Don't bother to respond. They operate behind an impenetrable shield of arrogance and are not going to apologize when they realize they hadn't the slightest idea what they were writing about. So you're going to get a lot of reviews like that simply because unless they assign the review to certain others within the paper, people that have actually written about this issue, they could have assigned the review to Leslie Kean. They're just going to get the, very uninformed. And what's the worst about it is that they come up with the same tropes. And you're thinking, that's 1970. That's 1952. It's like, Jesus, man, at least you could have a more sophisticated trope to debunk this subject.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's in the Times now. There will be many more reviews and hundreds of articles over the next month. I will chronicle all of them on my website, paradigmresearchgroup.org, in the print media archive. All right.
Yeah. Well, so I recommend everybody just to subscribe. I've been a subscriber for years. I just followed you on X, and I'm just posting your profile up here in the chat room as well as on the board. So that way they can go in and peruse what you have going on there as well. So
very good. And by the way, speaking about the end of the year, there's more conferences and more things happening right now, breaking in the middle of this, which is also worthy of mentioning. First of all, there's a major conference that is starting up this December. It's called the State of the World Forum. And the reason why it's so important is that the original State of the World Forums were held in the 1990s, 95 to 2000, I think. And the reason they were held is that there was an explosion of optimism and forward future thinking because the Soviet Union had collapsed, and it looks like we might have detente. We might be able to see a substantial reduction in nuclear weapons, and new possibilities were there, and people getting a little excited. And so Mikhail Gorbachev, after he left, obviously, his position, stayed around for quite a few years, he created the Gorbachev Foundation, which Jim Garrison ran, and then they formed the State of the World Union Forum, or State of the World Forum, which Jim Garrison was also the president of, and they held very significant conferences on the West Coast and one in New York, where heads of state would come in, high-level people of a number of fields, including Gorbachev, where they would address, and these were high-level productions. I think sometimes the tickets were $5,000. They would address, where is the world? Where is it going? What kind of future can we have? Very significant. Unfortunately for us, the wisdom that was imparted, the optimism that was in place was squandered because those that wanted things to stay the way they've been basically got their way. started up a new Cold War, a new weapons arms race, and a number of proxy wars, bombing people, killing people, that has taken to where we are now, even in a more dangerous place than we were, certainly at the end of the Soviet Union. Very dangerous. But there is another worldview massive change coming, and that is disclosure. Capital D disclosure by the heads of state of nations opens up this issue wide, so the whole world starts to get involved. The information comes out. That is a bigger paradigm shift, magnitudes more significant than the end of the Soviet Union. And it's going to open up possibilities we can only dream of now. And for that reason, Jim Garrison has reached out to all the people that that were involved, that are still around, and others, to start up a new State of the World Forum that'll run through 2030. And this one is basically the similar thing. It's going to look at the world as it is now, and then talk about where it can and needs to go. And there's some things this time around that they couldn't address back in the 90s, such as psionics, the extraterrestrial presence. This is obviously a whole new component, but a critical component. So it's going to be online, December 14 to 17. There are also watch parties being created. The website is stateoftheworld.forum, right? State of the World Forum, stateoftheworld.forum. Check it out. You can start a watch party. And for those that want to register, I will mention that if you're watching me now and you get in touch with me by email or text or what have you through my website, I can provide, I'm a co-sponsor of the event, I can provide a code that will save you quite a bit of money on that registration. So that's coming up. And then one other thing that I'll note, and then I hope we'll take some questions. And as it happens, the person behind this situation is going to be part of the State of the World Forum, and a lot of other people like her. But this recent development, which is only about a month old, is not trivial, right? Again, it's the kind of thing that most people look at and go, that's interesting. But I look at it and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm talking about the work of Beatrice Villarreal, who is a physicist working for the Nordic Institute of Astrophysics, which you can guess is not a private organization. I mean, a citizen organization operating out of somebody's basement. And so she did something that I refer to as elegant science. I have a degree in physics, but elected not to move on past the BS, because I knew I was going to be a very average physicist and probably ending up, running the front desk, So she decided to investigate astrophotography panels pre-Sputnik. No one had done this. I'm pretty sure. And what did she decide to do? Let's go look at thousands and thousands of plates, astrophotography of places in the sky prior to Sputnik, and even a few years after, because it took a while before you even had 2 or 3 satellites, and see what we see. And what they found was that you would have a photograph on Monday in 1950, 49, whatever, and there'd be something in that photograph, a light, something, right? Could be a star, though maybe a little big, no big deal. And then 2 weeks later, another photo was taken of that exact point in space, and it's not there anymore. And there are, I think, some instances where it might have been there in 2 successive, and then on the third one, it's not there anymore. Okay. There are 2,000 instances of this. And so and it's been peer reviewed and successfully, but more peer reviews are coming. But it's elegant science in the extreme. It's not complicated. It's not deep theoretical science like quantum theory, whatever. It's just simple, elegant science, but the implications are staggering. And what are the implications? There is only one explanation for what they have found. We're not alone. We didn't put anything up there that's not natural. What's up there clearly is not natural, and therefore some other entity put it up there. They have technology, and they are not us. Case closed, QED, that's it. Now, I assure you that the debunkers will just bend over, turn themselves into pretzel. Don't care. The only thing that could even push back against this is that this still shot happened to catch a small something flying by, a little meteor, whatever the hell, and happened to catch it right there, frozen. However, the odds against that are staggering, and they found thousands of these incidences. But then it would show up again, and then in the third plate be gone. That's not possible. So it's shot, but it gets even better. It gets even better.
Yeah.
These plates are all time stamped, and so they started to coordinate the actual photo with this thing that's not a satellite, right? We didn't put it up, and what was happening down on the ground below. They found a 45% correlation between the presence of these non-human, not natural objects and our testing of nuclear weapons. When you tie that into the firsthand evidence for the shutting down of our weapons, which started 10 years after Sputnik went up in 66 with Minot, followed 6 months later by two events in Maelstrom, plus others later on. The Air Force was able to really hold tight, and some in Russia that George Knapp got into. It doesn't take a genius to see that is just confirmation of the connection between the modern ET presence and nuclear weapons, but so elegantly provided by the Nordic Institute of Astrophysics. This just happened. This is the kind of thing the Department of Defense and the skeptics have got to overturn. And there's more science projects in the works. Mainstream science is moving in. Mainstream journalists are moving in. Mainstream politicians are moving in. And so those that want to cling to the truth embargo anymore, please give it up. If you're hoping to be able to retire or die before it's finally out there and you have to answer embarrassing questions, they won't be that bad, and it's not going to work. So get on the side of the truth. Get on the side of history. I assure you, in the long run, it's absolutely the way to go. And so that gives you a sense of where we are right now in just the last months of 2025.
Jeez, going out with a bang, I would say.
In many ways.
Yeah.
So is anybody
no messing around?
Yeah,
I've got a couple. Again, questions, comments. It goes pertaining to the film because I wonder. Well, it will be interesting to see what happens with this new movie. Curious to see if it will get attention or not. I think
it's going to get plenty of attention.
Yeah,
the skeptics, the standard skeptics online are just going to just find every possible thing that they can bring up. If they can't bring it up, they'll make it up. There'll be plenty of back and forth online. There's going to be plenty of media coverage. There's 34 witnesses in this film that the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Washington Times could go interview. That's a lot of interviews. And if I were them, I'd go interview them all. So it's going to be generating articles for months. I don't know how many. I'm going to guess it could be 500. So plenty will happen, be assured.
What about, Steve, with people who have existing NDAs who could come forward? Do you think that you have like a whole other populace of people who could come forward with things and they can't really talk about it because of NDAs?
Yeah, thousands.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, this is another thing to point out, as I talked earlier about what's going on. It's not, now you're going to get the truth from this person and that. I say you're going to get the truth about all the stuff. No, this is the process, orderly movement towards ending the truth embargo and getting confirmation from the president. So the people that are coming forward are doing exactly what they should do. They're not violating any NDAs. They're not violating the security clearances. If they're asked something in a hearing that they can't answer under those criteria, then they simply say, I cannot speak of it in this setting, possibly in a SCIF, assuming the other person in the SCIF also has the clearance. All right. And then those that are writing books or putting out articles or anything else, they're running them by Dopster, which is the organization that checks and then may redact stuff that they feel cannot go out now. That is particularly notable because of what they do allow to go out. And this is true of the books you've been reading, hearing about, and so forth, statements by Grush. And what they're allowing to go out is quite impressive. And so they're going to follow the rules. They're not going to, nobody wants to be a whistleblower. It's all you get is death threats.
That's true.
And they're following
Yeah.
the rules because the job
Yeah.
now is to simply bring the temperature of the room up to a comfortable level where the
Mhm.
president can come out and end this 80-year embargo. So
Mhm.
be patient with these individuals. And some of them are more reluctant than others because there
Mhm.
is blowback by the DOD. They've done a couple of things recently, which they should be ashamed of. And there are
Mhm.
plenty of skeptics out there. And of course, the internet, if they can find your handle or whatever, the internet's got what, 2 billion people on it. I assure it, at any given day, quite a few of them are more than happy to give you a hard time. That is the nature of today's world. And they'll even dox you.
Mhm.
And that's unfortunate. The internet is also the most powerful fact-checking thing that's ever been invented. And the
Mhm.
ability to do activism with the internet, some parallel. So it's the good and the
Mhm.
bad. You have to take them both together. So
Mhm.
again,
Yeah.
accept what people are willing to say.
Mhm.
Be positive and supportive of those that are deciding what to say.
Mhm.
And ultimately, we're going to get disclosure.
Mhm.
And in our lifetime, most of us will see virtually everything the government has classified now
Mhm.
in the public space, and technologies and other things already being developed to deal with the problems of the human race right now, which now exceed our technological capability.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp? Because apparently they were informed that there were by multiple sources that one of the largest UFO incursions happened probably in the last 6 to 8 weeks in Texas.
Uh, Again, I'm not into, events and phenomenology is not my thing. There have
Yeah.
been untold millions of events and
Yeah.
millions of reports. It was proven long ago. It's been reproven dozens of times. I'm
Mhm.
only interested in getting the embargo ended.
Yeah.
But the point is that George Knapp has probably operated as an actual professional
Mm.
investigative journalist on this subject longer than anybody
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
And that's on top of doing regular professional journalism for a
Mhm.
major station there in
Mhm.
Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Uh, I can't imagine the work, the total, what's the word I'm looking for? Work output this man has done in 40 years is extraordinary. So anything he does, anything he brings forward is very positive.
Mhm.
Jeremy Corbell obviously is gotten deep into the issue with interviews, podcasts, documentaries.
Mhm.
So he is definitely a player,
Mhm.
uh, and they have been working together,
Mhm.
which is good because
Yes.
George is up there in years, and he
Yeah,
has worked
yeah.
hard and long. And
Kind of,
Jeremy is
yeah.
a rather robust guy. So they've
Yeah.
made an interesting team, and they're part of many teams and many people
Mhm.
that are going to
Mhm.
get us across the finish line.
And what are your thoughts on Stephen Greer? Player or not player?
Oh,
Disinformation or full on, yes, this
I'm not
is
someone to tell anybody who's disinformation,
yeah,
not disinformation. Not
yeah,
my job. But
yeah.
he's been in
But
the
it
field
hurts
longer
the
than I
cause,
have.
right?
Yeah,
It
he's been in
hurts
the
the
field 40
cause.
years. Okay.
Yeah,
And he's done a huge body of work,
yeah.
documentaries, books, and so forth, massive.
Mhm,
And so the idea that there isn't a lot of positive and important stuff in that body of work is, of course, ridiculous.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
he's a very intense person, very complicated. He's a genius.
mhm,
He's been able to raise a lot of funds, which is certainly something that helps if
mhm.
you can do it. Some people are
Taking
not good
some
at it.
risks like most, you know?
I'm not good at it, but
Yeah,
he will have a legacy in this field. He has made
yeah.
significant contributions,
Mhm.
but many of the people in the field are controversial. And if
Yes.
you're not controversial, there are skeptics out there that would love to make you controversial.
Mhm.
And so I have respect for all
Yeah,
those
we're
who are
trying.
trying to get
Yeah.
this truth embargo and end this lie. I
Mhm.
don't have too much respect for people that want to maintain this truth embargo
Yeah.
and maintain this lie. And that's about as
Mhm.
far as I go.
Mhm. No, understood. I think, anybody who takes risks to just try to come out and bring things to the forefront is worth giving a mention. He's just getting a lot of bad raps. And then it's like anything. You have your lovers, you have your haters. You can't please everybody because, you can't.
Let me tell you, if you're operating in the internet, which almost everybody in the field is,
Yeah.
you can't handle bad raps, then you
Yeah.
really have maybe made a miscalculation,
Mhm.
and even defamation. That is the new world we live in.
Yeah.
Uh, and I have a rule that I followed for nearly 30 years now, going all the way
Mhm.
back to the email wars, right? They called them flame wars,
Yeah.
with a couple of exceptions where I weakened.
Yeah.
But I do not fight on the internet with anybody.
Yeah.
I do not debate on the internet with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I may make a response, mild, not too serious, or a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm attacked, I say nothing.
Yeah.
Virtually, I virtually never say anything. There is no upside to it. You cannot win, not on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just don't go there. And even if stuff happens, it gets to that level of defamation,
Mm-hmm.
where if it was appearing in a newspaper or whatever, you might be able to. You can't do it. Trying to get defamation outcomes on internet stuff is beyond the pale of most people. It costs a fortune, and you're probably going to lose. This is the age of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the
Delicately.
I don't know how to describe it. It is the age where it is a free speech age like nothing we've ever seen,
Mm-hmm.
and everything pretty much goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you go into the space,
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand that, and if you understand it, your experience in that space will be not too bad. But if you don't get it, I assure you, it can make you incredibly miserable, drive you crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and even ruin your life. I mean, there are people that have made mistakes on the net that have seen their careers gone in a week or a month. So it's a place you have to be careful in terms of everything you say, but then you have to be totally immune to being baited and responding to those that decide they don't like you. I managed to get past that a long time ago, and that's why I'm still here.
Right. Right. Good for you. So it's tough out there, a tough crowd.
Oh, very.
Herb says we deserve the truth because we're people too. We deserve to figure out what's going on within our space. Okay, so Kathy's got two different questions. So we'll just start with, we're going to jump over to Three Eye Atlas. What are your thoughts on it? And I'll just save the other half of the question for later, since it's different altogether.
If one goes on the net, and particularly looking at like YouTube and so forth, you can find some deep analysis of Three Eye Atlas by science-based analysis. But it's not as much fun. It's not as much fun, and that's fine. The internet is also a place to have fun. Okay, and so who am I to say you can't have fun? So I have terrible news, but the fact is, Three Eye Atlas is they call an extrasolar comet. It comes from another solar system. It could have been traveling for 1 million years. Could have been traveling for 8 million years.
Which is extraordinary just in itself.
Well, I mean, there's things traveling out there for millions of years every day. The thing is, okay, to pass
this
through
one's getting attention.
We've only known 3, but there have been others. But 3 have been identified. But over the millions of years this planet's been around, tons of those have happened. And it came from another solar system, and all the solar systems are created by what we call accretion disks. In other words, a giant sphere of material starts to come together. There's a rotation effect, and it becomes a disk. And then eventually, the disk, the center of the disk, gets so dense and packed that it lights up as a sun. And then the rest of the accretion disk slowly starts to form X number of planets, and maybe asteroids. No problem. That's been happening for 14 billion years. We're one of trillions of those solar systems. And guess what, though? They're not all the same. The elements are always the same, the same elements throughout the entire universe. But the amount of each element, the proportionality, is going to vary. It depends on what is in that particular area that finally comes together to create that accretion disk. And so this is a comet from another solar system that very likely has different components, a different consistency of this or that. And so it's not acting like our regular comets, the ones that are just go around our sun, that are made up of stuff from our accretion disk. And so that makes it very interesting, and it's getting a lot of tension. It's pretty big. And but that's what it is. And it's going to keep on going. It's going to then leave our solar system and could easily travel on for 1 billion more years.
Yes.
That's it. Now, why do I even care? I'll tell you why. Is because you have to admit that the enormous interest in this
Yes.
extrasolar pass through
Yes.
is because a number of people wanted to explore the possibility that it was an extraterrestrial craft.
Yeah.
And then once they got rolling on that, they kept on going. And
Yes.
so it's out there and in and talked about and what have you. And then you've had a couple of very high level scientists decide, yeah, this is good. And so it's developed hundreds of articles. I don't even put them up on my site because it's not UFO.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's not ET. So, but there's hundreds of them.
Yes.
And they're just pouring out, reflecting the level of interest. So if I'm a truth embargo manager, I'm watching this and going, Jesus Christ, these people are really serious. They're really into this. And that's what's important about it. Other than that, it's coming in and it's going out, wave goodbye as it leaves.
Yes. I was going to say that exact thing with respect to the interest. It gauges the interest. I guess it's a matter of gauging how many people are fearful or how many people are just all about it. Beam me up, come on down, whatever the case may be.
5% of that interest is because people just love comments. Right? 95% is about it could be AI, could be artificial. Let's check it. Let's get the photos. And it's cool. It's cool. We are spacefaring civilization. We have telescopes of various types in the deep, deep space, looking at this thing coming. And I'm thinking, and again, Truth Embargo Boys, he's like, please, okay, right? We're spacefaring civilization, taking close-up pictures of interstellar objects. And you're going, well, you just can't handle the truth about this. This ET thing, you're just gonna fall apart, gonna go crazy. You won't go to church, you won't pay your taxes. And we just like the secrecy. We love it. It's like having a treehouse in the backyard that the women can't come to, the girls. And I'm going, grow up.
Yeah.
And get this out so that we as a civilization can decide how to deal with it on our terms, not just the terms of a few select individuals who feel they are psychologically so much more robust that they can handle what we cannot.
Well, there's a belief that even government, or scientists are interested in it, because they're deliberately testing the waters. Maybe they are deliberately testing the waters to see, like, is this, should we come out and remove this embargo?
What do you mean by testing the waters? How are they doing?
I mean, testing the waters with respect to because there've been articles even apparently where they're like, oh, this thing's got propulsion and, men of science and things like that. A lot of hypothesis. But I'm wondering, if you have it, if it is one of those projects where they're like, look, let's just go with it and just see where it goes and see maybe it's worth taking that embargo down. Maybe it's worth doing it. But if there's just so many people going, no way, no way, no way, these are the people who do the voting. So you might want to take a step back from it.
Well, yeah, 3i Atlas is not a comment that was budgeted by the Department of Defense to fly in here.
But I'm not saying they're not rolling with it.
But so no, it's not a project. But if I were in part of the management of the truth embargo, I would be paying close attention to how people are responding to this event, how they're eager to explore its possible extraterrestrial connection, and I'd be responding to that. I don't think it hurts. It definitely does not hurt. It's one more piece, small weight on the scale that eventually is going to drop that scale. But I really wish it would happen sooner than later. And one of the reasons that I'm impatient and can be passionate and impatient and so forth is that I know a lot about the nuclear weapons war issue, and more than I would rather know.
Yeah.
And the fact is, very few people really know much about that. They're just leading their lives, having their kids and grandkids, and they don't know how it's all virtually at risk. All of it. Not 100 years from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. We've pushed things to the limit, and we're standing right on the edge, and it could go at any time. We've made the world extremely dangerous. We had an opportunity in 1990s, and we blew it. And the people that blew it are not unknown, and the reason that they did it is relatively known. And there's just not enough awful stuff you can say about that. But it doesn't matter. It's in the past. Now we have a second chance. If we blow this one, there won't be a third.
It's just pretty sad, really.
Yeah.
You know,
We're dangerous.
it's a cycle that repeats itself.
Yeah. We weaponize everything. Probably the most important reason the truth embargo was started, maintained so intensely, was given the circumstances of the 1940s and 50s. But it's still the same today. The technology that they had in their possession from any crashes, and there have been a number of them, number one on the to-do list is weaponize it, period. They will weaponize anything that they think will give them an advantage. When I say they, I mean the people that are defending the country within the classified world. Right? And God knows where they've gone with that. And they also found out early something that almost every contactee knows, is that these entities, no matter which ones you're dealing with, they're all telepathic. Apparently that is a fundamental ability of the universe. So that they learn quickly that these entities are telepathic, and they're going, well, telepathy is real, which is a pretty big deal. And they learn not by going to some magic show or something where the guy seems to read. I'm talking about they know. And guess what they decided to do? Weaponize it, of course. And so they developed these programs designed to deeply explore the mind, to try to get at the cause of telepathy, and other things started to come out and learn about. Some of that was from Russian research, and the net result is that they were trying to weaponize what we now refer to as a group of phenomena that come under the heading of psionics. Great word. Wording is always important. And psionics, they weaponize it. How can we weaponize remote viewing, telepathy, even telekinesis, whatever? And they classified the hell out of it until it started to leak out a little bit. Then they had to kind of dance around that, just like they did with the ET stuff, which leaked out. But again, we got 8 billion people. And if the default position of all of the major nations, the high-tech nations, and certainly the 9 nuclear nations, is weaponize everything you can, because we're going to have to kill somebody soon. Somebody's going to want to come and take us over. And it's going to be the survival of the fittest. And the fittest is determined about how good are the weapons you are. This is ancient. It's totally not appropriate now. It's silly, stupid, ancient, whatever. But we can't get out of it. And I happen to believe that the ET presence of the last 80 years, which is going to culminate in open contact post-disclosure, is precisely about that. That, if you got a kid that he really tries hard to understand algebra and just can't get it, and he gets an F on every test, you bring in a tutor, really nice, friendly person that's got those skills, and they work with your kid. The kid gets a B in the next test. You go, that's good. Right? Are you gonna say, no way, my kid is not gonna have to use a tutor, he's gonna do it on his own, whatever? No. So what's wrong with us getting some tutoring from successfully advanced civilizations, particularly if they happen to be around persistently? Nothing wrong with that.
Benevolent. I mean, you would think that we would reach out. I mean, you had mentioned the one time, I think when you were on, about the Space Force, and this is just a big thing that they were looking at funding and such. Why? Yeah, if they are funding, yeah. So why, if you didn't know that there was imminent possibility of danger, or is it just, like, aren't you inadvertently admitting that you're preparing against something?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how you look at it, yeah. But in fact, they have a space force, and other nations have space forces, whatever they call them.
Yeah,
because they are fully anticipating having a war in space.
Oh, Jesus!
Not with ETs,
just with
other
other
nations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you got to have a space force, which just takes this nonsense higher up. So there are things that can happen if you get into a space situation, which are, you can use certain EMP explosions to knock out all the satellites of a particular country and not kill a single person on the ground. And you could literally turn that country into a mess, which is why if you did that, the country would respond with ground-based ICBMs and blow up your cities. So no, anybody that was putting
Yeah.
Anybody that was putting together the Space Force so they could defend against the ETs is either incredibly stupid or just wants to get the money so they can pay themselves a big fat salary in order to waste our time. Because we have zero chance against spacefaring civilization. Zero. I say a starfaring civilization. And anybody wants to make an argument, yes, we do. They go ahead, but they're not, because they'd make an ass of themselves, and so they'll use the secrecy as a justification for not having to come out and actually make that case. They just make it to each other. They're in lunches during, the basement of the Pentagon. It's basically it's a echo chamber, right? We should do this, absolutely. But they won't come forward and say, look, we need to spend trillions of dollars to use technology to defend ourselves against an extraterrestrial presence. They're not going to do that because, frankly, that argument could be shredded, literally shredded. So, again, this balance is being maintained by secrecy, denial on the part of some people, acquiescence on the part of others, inability to get the activism funded at a level that it deserves, which is 1,000 times bigger than it gets now. And they continue to be able to be in that echo chamber. But a bunch of people have stepped out of that chamber. 34 of them will be in the Age of Disclosure film, running starting tomorrow for at least a week, if not further. And that's going to be a game changer. How big a change, we'll see.
I guess we'll see what happens coming, in the next few weeks. Okay, comments, questions. Dolly says Eisenhower warned everyone, or us all, of the military-industrial complex. It's not difficult to figure out who's doing what.
Well, I believe that one of the reasons he made that statement was because he knew about the ET presence. He knew we had the vehicles, and so he knew that in addition to just what military-industrial complexes do, which is find bases to make a bunch of weapons and lots of money in support of national defense, he knew that was going to be part of it, that it was going to be a whole nother level. And so, and obviously Eisenhower would have known that whatever we're going to learn from those vehicles, we're going to weaponize. And then we're going to use the industrial complex to build the stuff. So I think that just added a more urgency to him make that statement in 1961. God bless him. And he was basically right. Military industrial complex without really strong oversight by a responsible Congress is capable of doing really awful things. And I don't mean other countries, which we know about. I mean our country as well.
Yeah. There seems to have been, presidents, throughout history who have been pretty vocal about, ET around. I mean, Ronald Reagan even made comments about it. One day we're going to have to worry about this, but they're out there. Like, some of them were very vocal. You even look at Nixon when he brought Jackie Gleason over to a base, and Jackie Gleason was like mortified.
Yeah, but he didn't go public about that. That came out later.
It was just them. Eventually, Gleason did.
No, they all knew. Every single president has known about this.
Yes.
There are reasons that people put forward reasons why now they didn't know. They don't understand what it means to be president.
They know. Yeah.
Okay. And so what they choose to do about it is another matter. All right. Carter tried to be, tried to do something nice, and that was shut down. Clinton was encouraged to do something and actually did make a bit of an effort.
Yeah.
That was shut down. And he never spoke directly to it, except in a, the odd interview here and there. But
even Hillary Clinton came forward and said, "Oh yeah, and now we call them UAPs." And Obama's like, "Yeah, they're a thing."
You know who put her in a position to have to do that? You get one guess. Who do you think put her and her husband and Obama in a position to have to make those statements during 2016?
Hopefully it was you.
Yeah, it was me.
There we go.
It's all on my website. Go look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's one of my greatest accomplishments. And oddly enough, I apparently didn't like it. They didn't appreciate it because I never got a thank you or anything. But I was all. I mean, there was other aspects to it, but it was number one on my list. And I had a DC publicist working with me who knew everybody. So It didn't work. I mean, it worked in the sense that those statements are out there and they're up on my website. They'll never go away. But overall, Reagan's statement is the most intriguing.
Yes.
In that he said that wouldn't we all come together if there was this threat from out there, which he had been told there was an out there. Okay. He was also trying to push the SDI. Now, the Strategic Defense Initiative was designed to be a way to defend ourselves against Russian missiles. But I have a feeling that one of the reasons he pressed it so hard, even after the scientists started pushing back, saying it won't work, is because I think he was also sold on the idea that it would also double as potentially a defense against those entities out there. And all that's fine. I mean, at the time, I'm not criticizing Reagan. However, he almost got it right.
Yeah.
In that
a good effort. Yeah.
Wouldn't we all come together if we knew there was an extraterrestrial threat that we had to defend against? The way it's going to play out and can and should play out is, wouldn't we all come together if we learned that there was an extraterrestrial presence that wasn't a threat? Because you see, if it is a threat, it doesn't matter whether we come together. If they decide they don't need us anymore, we're gone. The laws of physics are not going to take a break and go off somewhere and somehow save us. No. But on the other one, wouldn't we come together if we learned finally that there is this presence and it's not a threat? Yeah. And we would really have a much better reason to come together, not to go into a fight we can't win.
Yeah.
But to go in a re-examination of our worldview and start changing our behavior, possibly the assistance of ETs, to create a world that we might come to love, which is one of the themes of the State of the World Forum, by the way, State of the World God Forum, creating a world you could love. So he had it, but he just needed to flip it over. Now, it's time for a president to go even further. Will it be this one? It can be. Is there a political reason not to? No. Is there a nonpartisan reason not to? I mean, a partisan reason not to. There shouldn't be. And anybody that puts that forward is making a huge mistake. So that's how close we are. I think
he's a one guy who just sort of goes to the beat of his own drum and does what he wants. And I think, he would be the guy to have the kahunas to move forward and do it.
There's a lot of movies where you got this, problem, right? that the regular people can't solve.
Yeah.
And they go, bring in Sam, right? Get him. He is nuts. He'll do anything. Okay.
Yeah,
and then Sam comes in and and gets it done. Right.
Yeah.
It's sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Every challenge requires an approach that will work. And sometimes the approach does not fit nicely into our convenient toolbox. And that's happened throughout all of history. And somebody who's got a tool that's not in the box comes forward and gets it done. And that's fine. That's fine. This has got to get done.
I think realistically you nailed it. If, we'll take it a step further. If they wanted to hurt us, they are more advanced. Don't you think they would have done it?
Well, this is why in the early days when the gentleman came out from the To the Stars Academy, Elizondo, Mellon, and no, God, where's my head? Gary Nolan and others, and they started doing stuff right away. It got complicated because trying to get the attention of politicians or media, it's a little easier to get the attention if you can make the case, well, it's a threat, right? It's a threat. And people, well, if it's a threat, then we got to look at this. I get that, but that's a huge mistake. It was a big mistake. And I was talking about it, and I think they started to correct themselves because, appropriately, the extraterrestrial presence is a potential threat. That is absolutely true. A threat is not the same thing. Okay. So a knife sitting in a kitchen drawer is not a threat. It's a potential threat. A knife in the hand of somebody pointing it at you in front of you is an actual threat. And so the ETs have always been a potential threat. Our sun is a potential threat.
Right.
Three-Eye Atlas could take a left turn and become a potential threat really fast.
Yeah.
And so it's very important to get the right language into light range potential threat. Now, to what degree is it a potential threat? And the evidence seems to indicate that in terms of serious consequences, very unlikely. In terms of very low level, how would you say, aspects that are not comfortable, that are not pleasant, there's some substance to that. And so one could say that being if you're talking, say you're a mother and you're talking to your daughter, and your daughter for whatever says, "Mommy, is there a potential threat that I could be abducted by extraterrestrials?" The answer is there is a tiny possibility there. That's a legitimate and true statement.
Yeah, because you can't say one way or another definitively, so you have to.
Well, I mean, it can happen. Because it does happen.
Exactly. Yeah. The potential.
Now, how awful is this? It's not. It's definitely not particularly fun for the people that are contactees. Most, some it is, and that's important to know. And does that mean that justifies keeping the truth of this vast engagement, hiding it, embargoing it, and denying it, and what have you? Absolutely not. It never did. But that's what they've chosen to do. And all I can say is that the risk is low. But if this issue finally gets brought forward, I know the contactees are going to be in a much more comfortable space, because nobody's going to be laughing at them, and they'll have some appreciation and so forth, and make it easier for them. That's the least we can do for them. So denying this thing has been hard on them. It's another one of the many negative consequences of the truth embargo, and the list is a long list.
Well, you hear about all these deathbed confessions from veterans and such, because they want to make sure that they tell somebody, their family. It's like, I'm on the way out. This is what happened. This is a thing, and I think that there's more and more of that happening, which is also great. You're hearing stories, from events and experiences that go back like almost 100 years.
It's part of the evidence, but a deathbed confession is of no value at all.
No, but it's nice that they're able to come forward when you're talking about contactees or experiencers.
Well, yeah, but I'm making another point. It's of no value at all unless it's in a court of law. If somebody gives you a deathbed confession, okay, fine, that information.
Yeah.
But what's the impact on disclosure? Very little. There have been a number of them that have been put into books, but it's not great. However, a deathbed confession has legal power. Okay. And so if you could go into a court of law making a case regarding the ET issue, ET presence, and you're able to provide legitimate deathbed confessions, you literally have some legal influence there, legal power, which is one reason that you haven't seen any court cases involving extraterrestrials. There's been thought about doing it, and people wanted to do it, but no, that would be a problem for the embargo, so that's not going to happen. But deathbed confessions are good for the research and helpful, and we do learn something, and God bless those that are willing to do that.
Yeah, well, some of them were pilots, in the war and such. It's just like, this happened. We were up there with something. And the famous NDA couldn't talk about it. So it is interesting. Herb says deathbed confessions seem to be one of the real wild cards in the story. Can't wait to see what comes out next.
Well, I hope that we can get disclosure, and that a whole bunch of individuals of age, but not near death, will be able to come forward and tell their family the history and the things that they saw, maybe even tell the media, and share their experiences. That would be a kind of a nice thing. There are thousands of such people. And so no, they shouldn't have to wait for a deathbed confession. Disclosure frees almost all of that up. And disclosure will generate a very substantial increase in interesting conversations at Thanksgiving dinners. You have a whole lot of people that will show up to Thanksgiving dinner with really good stories. Great stuff. And you'll be sitting there gnawing on that turkey leg and listening like crazy. It's great. Okay.
It'll be a Thanksgiving you'll never forget.
Absolutely. All around the world, people come for, yeah, I can talk about this now. And it's going to be great. It'll be pouring out from a lot of people as part of this transition into a post-disclosure era, which I feel very confident is going to be fabulous, which is why I'm very impatient to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah. Herb says, yeah, it's very hard living a lie. I hope everyone gets to tell their truths.
Sure.
Question. Dolly says, Stephen, do you really see them as an ET or them, maybe not ET, turning it towards the good? So the powers that be,
well,
government,
again,
and Congress.
It's not, well, first of all, their position is it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the question is, as if this thing comes out, it's really simple. If we get disclosure by the president, formal confirmation, followed by other heads of state, will the defense departments of these nations, maybe even in concert, then come forward to, okay, now that this is out in the open, let me tell you all the reasons why, boy, we're in deep trouble. We need trillions of dollars to defend ourselves against these entities. We got special new weapons, anti-matter weapons, whatever, because they're incredibly dangerous. I think the odds are low, very low, that they're going to make that move.
Right.
I think it will go over very badly unless they've got some really good proof to back up that. And we know a lot, and because the truth embargo prevents the general public from really understanding there's something here. The amount of information that's known about this phenomena and the ETs and everything else is underestimated. It's a lot of information, but it's not formalized because the government won't admit it's there. But post-disclosure, people will come to realize just how much we have in the private sector. And that information, if it's given a fair examination, does not make a case that these entities are a serious threat unless disclosure triggers something. In other words, we get worldwide disclosure, all the heads of state are confirming it, and that means, okay, that's happened, and now we're going to have to do some serious ass kicking. I just don't see it. There's too much we know about ETs and what they convey to contactees and how they conduct themselves. That they have their agenda, they're doing things, but ruining our lives, certainly the collective lives of human beings, is just not there yet. And I don't expect it to be there.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. We're going to hit the next question. I've got questions on Facebook too. I'm going to get to everyone. Kathy says, in your opinion, are the Starlink satellites not just for communication? Is there another use for them?
I doubt that. I think they're just for communication. There's no other special, highly unlikely. It's possible, but no, I don't think.
Okay, fair enough. Adam says, what do you think of the anthill theory when it comes to us humans?
Okay, now I just need to know what the anthill theory is.
Aha, can you elaborate, Adam? Can you elaborate? Okay. So Kathy had asked earlier, she goes, and I mean, this is kind of putting us off topic a bit, but what are your thoughts on the moon, being an alien base?
I love the idea that the moon is an artificial structure. I just love it.
Yeah.
Right? There is a great book out on it. It's actually pretty convincing. I forget Who Made the Moon was it called.
Yeah.
There's a logic to it. Okay. If the ETs are all based inside the moon, then hey, they're gold. Right. If the moon was put in place in order to help us evolve, but there's a case for that. So I like the idea. And it would be fabulous. So just imagine if we learn this.
Like the experiment where somebody sort of dropped something and it was a resonance that kind of went through.
Yeah. They did an explosion test up there and it rang for quite a while. And they're going,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
For a celestial body.
Over the history of this planet, if ETs could have easily set up a base on the moon.
Yes.
Particularly in the era before we had space travel. Just set up some bases on the far side, just to kind of keep a low profile. That wouldn't shock me. Do they have a base there now? It would have to be underground because we've surveyed pretty
Yeah.
much the whole moon.
Yeah.
But could they have a base underground? It's very possible. There have been a number of videos taken where things are seen leaving the moon. All right,
No. Yes.
that aren't us. Logical, pretty cool.
Mhm.
We also think they have bases underground here, even
Mhm.
under the seabed. That
Yeah.
should not shock anybody. So
Mhm.
it's not so much is the moon have a base or an ET base. Do the ETs have bases? And I think the answer to that is a very strong yes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
one day they may be on Google Maps.
There we go. There
It's
we
like,
go.
I
All
want to go
right.
visit that base. You know, they allow people to come in like, once a month. So
Yeah.
put it out on the maps. Let's drive there. It wouldn't shock me, but they have bases. That's how they can operate here. And people that have been abducted
Mhm.
sometimes don't end up in they don't recount being in a craft. They account for being in a facility.
Just like
And
Herb right
right.
here. He says, "Oh, deep state meditation a couple weeks back and found myself in a 70s style office underground on the moon. It was empty except for a robot." Okay.
Yeah, they could build underground bases up there. We couldn't, but they could. Or we could take over an old one of there. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that is not going to shock me.
No.
It is, we are one of I estimate. Well, I did an estimation recently that ran through, and I think I came up with 1,000. God, what was it? There are X number of planets in this universe that have advanced tech people on them, and it's a big number, right?
Mhm.
But it's a big universe, and so we're a living planet. There might not be a planet with our level of evolution in terms of sophisticated intelligence and so forth within hundreds and hundreds of light years. Who knows?
Mhm.
So we are special in that there's just not a lot of what we represent, and therefore there's going to be a lot of attention paid to us.
Yeah.
If we had our own starships,
Yeah.
where do you think our interest is going to be? There might be 10 solar systems relatively nearby, and there isn't a planet in there that's got anything interesting at all.
Mhm.
A couple of them got life, but they're at the level of like algae, and it's like, well, what can you do? But if there's a planet that's got robust life moving forward, we're going to be very interested in that. We're going to be in lots of ways. Absolutely. And so the idea that there's a lot of interest in us is hardly a stretch. That explains a great deal. So that interest is evolving, and now it's going to a special place. Doesn't surprise me. And if they're going to survey and monitor a planet, unless you've got some cool tech, you need to have facilities. You need to have bases, places to work from. So apparently they've got that.
Yeah, I would agree. You hear stories from contactees and experiencers like pretty regular. Anthill, like we aren't worthy of being considered. The anthill theory that we are not worthy of being
That's an
considered.
odd theory. I think even ants are worthy because in fact, there are people who study ants their whole life. They're a fascinating set of species.
Yeah.
Of course, we're worth being considered. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are. This planet is unbelievably complex. The human brain is incredibly complex. And if anything is going to challenge the sophistication of an advanced civilization, say 1,000 years ahead of us, it's going to be this, right? What else? Now, at some point, once you become a star traveling civilization, and join the what do they call it? The
Galactic Federation.
Galactic Federation. Okay.
Yeah.
That changes at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, up until then, we're a species of animal that has been evolving for 3 billion years to the point that we've achieved this level and become spacefaring. And that's a fascinating process that they're going to follow. And they come and study and what have you, but they generally don't get involved, though apparently there have been exceptions. But once we become starfaring, it's a different matter. Now it's not a matter of we need to monitor you, right? No, we're going to engage you. And so they're and us them, and so that in that era,
Mm-hmm.
they're learning about us by actually working with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They may do some experiments with us with our permission. Who knows? To learn more about this particular line.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are sentient beings. Well, there's no way that two sentient beings can evolve on two separate planets
Mm-hmm.
and end up being the same.
Right.
Just impossible.
Right.
But I have another theory about the galaxy, which I love
Okay.
to tell. I need to write more. It's hard for me to write. When I was 30 years ago, I could write, but now it's tougher. But I happen to believe that we're dealing with, like we look at the Earth as Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
which is a living planet, meaning, well, it's living,
Correct.
but the sum total of its living is connected. Now, even plant life is connected to non-plant life in a lot of different ways. Everything is connected.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things going on that create this and that and balance, but an incredibly complex thing. So it's easily justifiable as a living entity. Right?
Yes.
The planet is a living entity, not just a bunch of living entities, but the sum total together is kind of a living entity.
I agree.
We call it Gaia.
Yes.
I happen to believe the galaxy is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it galaxia. Okay. Now, what am I referring to? It's simple. If everything we've been learning of late is true, then the laws of physics allow life forms that evolve on a planet to ultimately be able to travel between star systems using tech that we don't fully understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the galaxy's the universe 13.8 billion years old. So the number of evolving planets that have created sentient beings capable of building starships there's a number that exists now, but the total number that exists over 13 is a big number. And so for the planets formed within the sun's formed, I think, within 200 million years of the Big Bang. And so off it goes, right? And so most of the galaxies are pretty much the same age. They're just far further apart. So the number of civilizations that have had the ability to travel between stars going back 13 billion years is huge. Huge. And so what are they doing? Untold numbers of incursions and excursions in which they've gone to another planet and looked at it and studied it, examined its DNA or examined its life structure, taken samples, brought them home. They're literally being passed around. So planet A gets a sample from planet B, but then loans some of it to planet C, whatever, as they're doing studies. In other words, once you get to a certain level, you are basically you're engaging the study of life in multiple separate forms. In other words, it's life, but it evolved here. So it's obviously very different for life over here, but it's life. And so life becomes the most complicated, varied thing in the universe. So the ultimate challenge for any advanced sentient species that cares about what's going on. And so they have been visiting planets and taking samples, and they've been moved around for the history of this galaxy. Now, what does that mean? It means that there's parts of life planets that are being passed around and developed, possibly genetically mutated, merged. And so our galaxy has a very profound interconnection in terms of galactic life, right? In other words, part of our living reality here actually did not originate here. It was brought in from elsewhere deliberately, right? And so there is a connection there. That's why when the ETs show up in the modern times and start taking contactees, and they get 2 arms, 2 legs, kind of look like a biped, but then you've got some that look very much like us. How is this?
Right.
Because there's a genetic, and the insectoids, reptoids, why do they look insect-like, reptoid-like? Because they've got DNA. Where did that come from? From here. When was it taken? When did it leave here? A long time ago. And so you got that connection coming back and so forth. And so I see it as a living galaxy. We're connected, which means that, well, it means a lot of things. But one thing it means is that if a billionaire happens to get, a bug about we have got to get to Mars no matter what it costs.
I'm with
We
you.
must preserve the human race because everything is going to get blown up here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to get to Mars, and that the humans will continue on.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay. The human race is going to be here forever
Mm.
because human DNA, human stuff is probably God knows how many laboratories on God knows how many planets in this galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we blow everything up here, they can make new ones out there, better ones probably even. That's kind of a nice way to think of it. And again, it'll spare us the false project. It'll cost tens of hundreds of trillions of dollars to put a bunch of humans on Mars to save our species from extinction. That the universe would be so upset if that happened. No. And so this concept of Galaxia, boy, that would be fun to expand on. It'd be great to get a $2 million research grant and just really get into it.
Yeah.
But I happen to think that somebody will. I'm too old to go there, but I think somebody's going to finally figure that out. Now, whether galaxies, say a galactic cluster, where you have 10 or 12 galaxies kind of in the same area, whether that interaction, life interaction, is taking place galaxy to galaxy is another matter. The distances between galaxies are big, obviously bigger than the distance between any stars in a galaxy. So is it even worth it? In other words, if you've got a whole galaxy to explore, it's so vast that you really need to go bother another galaxy. I don't know why you would do that, but I'm sure it does happen. Sci-fi does go there.
Well, you've got your adventurers, I think, in every race. Wayne says, everything from atoms all the way up to the galaxies all rotate in a similar fashion. Everything is most definitely connected.
Rotate in a similar fashion. Well, they rotate. In other words, everything in this universe is moving.
Yeah.
This is one of the cool things about it, that nothing is still. So, okay, so movement is absolutely fundamental, right? And the interesting thing about that is that movement is the only way that we can, I think, take time, that we can measure time. I'm not aware that we can do it any other way. I could be wrong, but I think it is. This movement of something. Could be the movement of an object, movement of waves, whatever. Change in sense of movement of something is the only way we can know, or at least measure time. And so time is connected to movement. And therefore the question is, what is time? Is time just the fact that things move? And that's it, right? And if you're not sensient and you can't measure it, it's irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. Things change, so what? So you get old. That's just change.
Yeah.
Right? But once you become sentient, you can measure movement. Therefore, you can ascribe time to it. And entropy requires that it only goes in one direction, basically. And so right away, you account for that fourth dimension pretty well without getting into anything too exotic. Now, obviously, there are physicists out there that are going, Jesus Christ, it's a good thing you stopped at a bachelor because you don't know what the heck. Yeah, it's probably true. It's probably true. But I've always thought about this, that without movement, there's no time. If everything was perfectly still in this galaxy, right? Everything was perfectly still and nothing moved. And a sentient being turned up. How would that being be able to measure time, except the being probably has changes within itself, okay? That it could then measure time that way, fingernails are growing, whatever. But say it's a non-living thing looking at that spot. You cannot measure time. And that has always intrigued me. Take away the movement, take away time. That's not the case with space. The three dimensions of space is pretty basic. It's not that complicated. There's three dimensions. And there you go. That gives you space. Nothing else has to happen. It's just there. So space is just there. Is time really just there in the sense that it is simply movement? And if there's no movement, no time.
It's technically, does time really exist?
Yeah. These are cool things. Whatever. I tend to ask, once the ETs get here and start building, their AI for us, I'm going to ask that AI about that question. I'm sure I'll get an answer.
Yes. Dolly says arrow of time in third dimension. And it is Dimensional. Did I say that right?
Dimensional?
Yeah. Okay. So typo on Dolly's part. That's why I was trying to figure this out. Dimensional space. You're trying to quantify gravity.
Well, yeah.
Really create
Arrow of
time.
time, I believe, is I ascribe it to entropy. Uh,
Yeah.
the reason there's an arrow of time is that everything is moving towards disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
if in other words, if water comes out of a hose,
Mm-hmm.
as you watch that happen, you measure the time in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's entropic in a sense, moving toward disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Things don't just come back together to create, just with no basis, come back together to create stuff. It's always moving toward disorder, and we measure that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this entropy does manifest as movement, and
Yeah.
we measure the movement, and then we measure time, and
Mm-hmm.
the arrow is always towards more entropy. Now we can build stuff and create order
Mm-hmm.
if enough energy is available in a certain space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overall, the universe is tending toward disorder, but in a certain space, if you apply energies, what the sun does to our planet, you can actually use that energy to create order.
Mm-hmm.
The hour of time, though, is still the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're creating order by applying energy, the hour of time is still the same.
Yes.
And that's where I lose it.
Yes. That's where we're going with it.
I'm going there. I'm done.
It's just had another comment. Where did it go? Yes, with quantum entanglement, we can separate time from movement.
Very interesting. Yeah. Quantum physics drives me crazy. Quantum physics scares me more than atomic physics, frankly. When you read about quantum and you really get into it, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, oh man. So quantum entanglement, as it's presently known, supposedly instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, whether they've measured that time differential down to the absolute shortest possible time difference, I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it's there. I don't think they've explained it yet. I think they're trying, but it's a very significant thing. I'm trying to think of a simple example yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. No need.
So in other words, you can't measure time. Well, what it means is if you're talking about two entangled particles and they're out there, now they may be moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. In other words, it's not about movement. These two things are going off somewhere, but they're entangled. So bing, bang. Okay. So they're moving. And so you can measure time based on the movement of one of those particles, but you can't measure time on the basis of the state of the particles compared to each other, which is a form of movement.
Yeah.
It changed from one state to another. That's a change. It's kind of a movement. And it takes time to do it, except in the case of quantum entanglement, apparently it takes no time. So you can't measure time using that. Yeah. And what does that mean? I have no idea. I should stop now. I'm going to get all kinds of grief about this from some of my physics friends. I wish, I would have liked to. I wish I had maybe gone on, got the PhD, done some work. I actually might have enjoyed it ultimately, but I ended up getting my degree in the middle of a very tumultuous time in the country.
Yeah.
It was like a mess. It was sort of like now.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And I was young, and in those days, the late 60s and so forth, man, everybody was upset, particularly the kids. We didn't know what the hell to do. I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, we were going around going, what are we going to do? And what a lot of them did is got high. They got really high, and they seem to be doing well, but I didn't do that. I didn't avail myself of that.
Different times.
I should
Different
have.
times.
Confused, right? I got confused, so I wandered off in the woods.
Dolly says you are not at the speed of light. You are gravity heavy. You go slowly. You count time.
Let's see. Let's see. At the speed of light, There is no
you are
time.
not at the speed of light. You are gravity
Yeah, no.
heavy.
She's making the point that at the speed of light, I think there's no time.
Mhm.
And there's a reason for that.
Shows you
Mass
perceive the speed of light, but
yeah,
cannot join it.
yeah. So, well, I know we know this, that if you are in a gravitational system,
Mm.
it affects the time. It affects the ability to measure it. And so there's time, but gravity affects the measurement of time without the movement. And this is what's interesting. And this is where Einstein's relativity stuff gets exotic. And that and by the way, this is something that is very cool that most people don't know you can do. I don't believe in time travel. I don't think it's possible, but there is a way to move forward in time. If you didn't care about your origins and your roots in any family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is you got a ship. It's a damn good ship, and you get it into a tight orbit of a black hole, and you just go around, just orbit this black hole at a constant speed, right? That gravitational field is going to slow your time down, and so consequently, if you get close enough and the gravitational field is strong enough, you could orbit it for a year, and the time variance between, say, elsewhere in the universe may be 5,000 years. And so you just slow everything down for a year, and then you head out and find out how things are doing 5,000 years from where you were before you entered that. So in a sense, you can jump forward in time that way, but you can't go backwards. All right. And so you can have basically a time-faring civilization utilizing massive gravitational fields in order to jump forward in time. Now, they are still aging, right? But at a slower pace. And so eventually, if they're a life form, they may die. But in the meantime, they could go forward hundreds of thousands of years. I've always wondered if there's a species doing that. That would be interesting. That's one way to go around. That is still one of the most extraordinary aspects of relativity, because to slow down that much in terms of speed, you have to get up near the speed of light, and the amount of energy needed is unbelievable, right? But the amount of energy needed to pretty much stay in an extreme gravitational field is not nearly as bad as you're circling it. And so that's a whole different ballgame. One day we might be able to do that. Who knows? I mean, I'd definitely be down for it. So, but the ETs know all the answers to this. The ETs absolutely, if they're even 1,000 years ahead of us, probably can go into a great deal of how it all works. And we could know that. And there's nothing wrong with us finding it out early, assuming we can pretty much deal with it, which I think we can, than having to spend another 3,000 years working it out through a natural process, which might be the case from some civilization way off in the boonies that nobody even knows is there. So they get no outside help. They just keep doing the best they can. Maybe have a nuclear war, recover, have another one, whatever. And eventually they figure some things out. Might take an extra 100,000 years.
Do you think there are already people in high positions of power who are made privy to some of this already?
Well,
they just don't want to share it with the rest of us common folk on a need to know basis. We don't need to know.
But there's two levels to this. One of which is clear. They know a lot about an ET presence. They've had beings. They've got craft, so they know a lot of stuff. That's one level. Another level is, are they in any kind of a relationship with extant ongoing civilization? Not as equal, not equals, but in a relationship in a sense, not some captive ET, and they're getting information even now from this advanced species, going into whatever government source for them to use as they see fit. That's another level of information transfer. Is that happening? I doubt it, and I hope not. Until we get to another place, getting that kind of information in a private way is just going to increase the probability that we're going to end up having a war, a massive war. And another reason why the truth embargo is bad, and there's hundreds of reasons, all of which I should write, but I can't, is that if weaponization of ET tech is going on in multiple countries, which seems to be, I think, the likelihood, because there have been crashes outside the U.S. It just have been going back. One of the key technologies, of course, is anti-gravitic propulsion.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how that works. We know how fast those craft can go.
Mm-hmm.
Almost instantaneous acceleration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that dangerous? Because the delivery technology for weapons is magnified profoundly by the amount of speed, the speed that you can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And the faster you can get there, the more your weapon is first strike. So if you could technically take out every single one of the nuclear facilities of another country before they even get the silo doors open, then that's a huge advantage. It's a first strike. Okay. So, well, if that is the case and one nuke nation got that, none of them else had, that nuke nation could take over the world. Okay. Except, of course, that we know that multiple nations, how many I don't know, but 2 or 3 or 4 have been dealing with ET tech, meaning anti-gravitic tech, for some time, which means what? It means you've got a number of nations. Let's just go Russia, China, US, who believe and are convinced that they're trying to develop anti-gravitics. And if they succeed in developing anti-gravitics before we do, they have a first strike capability on us, which gives them a huge advantage. And that is a scary thing. All right. But it gets worse. If you've got 3 nations that are working on anti-gravitic tech as a delivery system, then all 3 of them are worried that the other 2 could get it before they do. And so they're constantly on edge about and wanting to know and doing all their spying and what to make sure that that doesn't happen. But they're never sure it's not happening.
Right.
And so they're always anticipating, at any time, boom, a bunch of saucers type craft carrying nuclear weapons are going to suddenly turn up over 45 of our nuclear bases and blow them to hell. And so that kind of paranoia leads to mistakes. Fear and paranoia leads to mistakes.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that much, but it's the truth. ET tech leads to a possible first strike capability. And if multiple nations are on it, then the risk of nuclear war escalates another 10 times. And so this idea of, well, so we need to have and get to open, acknowledged ET tech research. And if we're working on anti-gravitics, everybody needs to know what they're working on and where they are, and commit in every way possible that they would never use anti-gravitics as a first strike. Now, if all 3 have that capability, then again, it's mutual assured destruction again.
Yeah.
They could do a first strike, but your saucers already loaded into somewhere will pop them pretty quickly. And so again, we're back where we started from, unless one has it and the others don't.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that's not clear. We do not know where the anti-gravitic drive technology is, the status of it in any of these countries, not even our own. And so this kind of secrecy and paranoia does not end well.
Yeah.
And we kind of know how that's going to happen. And we write books about it. We do streaming series about it. We do very substantial movies about it. We're constantly reminding ourselves about it because it's true. But what are we doing about not avoiding it? Not much. We just aren't.
That's a big one.
I'm into this because it's stupid. So I help.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's true. I think that that we have a long way to go, but we're so close. Like really, I mean, I think if the powers that be just concede and say, this has been going on long enough, the people want it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's. I mean, you have. This is going to be a substantial film coming out because there's so many, heavy players that are in there, ready to go, and they're just telling it like it is. Anybody who drops off, like you say, people drop off, and DoD kind of goes, "Oh, great, it's one less one." But I mean, they're on record pretty much for the world to see. But there's a lot of documentaries out there. And people are sharing their experiences. People, at different levels are talking about this. It's like you can only, everybody's got a camera phone. You can only keep I mean, who starts to look foolish now? It's not we the people.
No,
It's just
they're
like,
clinging to this. They're just clinging to this, right? Pretty
yes.
soon, every American will have an iPhone 29. Past
Yeah,
ground penetrating radar, and every one
yeah,
of them. You can actually walk by the
yeah,
Pentagon and kind of see what's going on inside. And
yeah,
everybody, yeah, we're not telling you anything. Um,
yeah,
it's getting pretty kind of silly.
yeah.
Without
It is
question.
there. It is there. We're there. Okay. How can people find you? I've had your website up here, and what do you have like coming up, and what do you want people to know?
Well, the State of the World Forum, stateoftheworld.forum.
Yeah,
It's a very significant event.
yeah,
51 very high level people, very accomplished individuals going to be addressing the state of the world and how
yeah,
we're going to move forward.
yeah,
December 14 to 17. And again, text me, email me, and you can call me on the phone.
yeah,
Because if you're watching, I'll give
yeah.
you a code that'll save quite a bit of money on that registration because I'm a co-sponsor.
Right.
And let's see, I'll be speaking at the Conscious Life Expo next year in February.
Hmm.
Been around forever. I know a
Yeah,
lot of you have probably been there, so I look forward to coming to that.
yeah.
And that's
That's a lot.
pretty much it. That's going to keep me busy. The one
Yeah.
thing I'm hoping to do is to get some funding because I want to hold an X conference next year. I've held 6 of them.
Ooh.
They
Yeah.
were some of the most fun things I ever did, but eventually just wasn't possible. But
Yeah.
I'd like to hold an X conference in Washington, the National Press Club,
Yeah.
and it would. I think I can hold about 500. And the principal reason I want to do it is to hold another awards banquet because I don't know if you can see behind me, but those are some
Yeah.
awards that
Yeah. Look at that.
I wasn't able to give out because the persons were not alive, and I couldn't
Oh,
contact family. I'd
yeah.
like to hold the awards concert and give out what usually about 6 or 7 of these awards, plus maybe find a relative or something to be able to give those to as well,
Mm.
because these are important people.
Hmm.
And it's just a great thing to do. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we need to do this because the mainstream world,
Hmm.
the high-end academics that
Hmm.
have kind of avoided this subject, the the and the media, the intellectuals,
Yeah.
historians, or whatever, that are going to jump into this eventually because it's safe.
Yeah.
They're not going to really
Yeah.
care much about us. I mean, it's like, hey, great job. We're moving on here.
Yeah.
Uh, that's life. That's the way it is, and I
Hmm.
don't expect it. And I would advise no one. They're not
Hmm.
going to give us any awards.
Mm.
All right, they're not going to have dinners and invite us and give us awards because all the work you did before the truth embargo was over, but now it's over, and the big guys, we're taking over. We got money. We got blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so we need to give ourselves the awards.
Hmm.
And I've given out 36. I want to give out more and
Yeah.
hold X conferences going on. And the awards are very specific: courage in journalism, courage in politics, and so forth. I'd love to do it again, but I've got to raise at least 25,000
That's a
because
lot.
I have to secure the press club, and you
Hmm.
can't just promise
Yeah.
to hold the event.
Yeah.
You have to put it down. Now, if you have to cancel, you can get
Yeah.
it back, and there's a schedule. But so I got a 25,000 threshold, and
Yeah.
I'm not there. I am a nonprofit, so it would be tax
Hmm.
deductible. If somebody wants to make an X conference possible, they get a nice tax deduction. But until then, I have
Yeah.
other projects, including the State of the World Forum
Yes.
and so forth. And so, and the
Yeah.
Hollywood Disclosure Alliance,
Yes.
HollywoodDisclosureAlliance.org. That's growing, about 230 members now. Check
Hmm.
it out. If you're a content creator or a researcher, activist, or whatever in the UAP field,
Hmm.
you may want to be part of it. So
Right.
check
And,
it out.
and everything can be accessed through your website, which is paradigmresearchgroup.org.
Right.
And you are on X. I put that up in the comments. And come on, everybody, go follow along. I followed and I read everything. So,
Yeah, Paradigm Research Group at Steve Bassett. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook, I just don't have the time for it.
yeah.
It's got so much more difficult. My
Yes.
major platform is X, but I am on LinkedIn, and that's
Right.
a very important platform.
It
And
is.
so I welcome followers there, and certainly on X. Facebook, I'm already maxed out at 5,000. I
Yeah.
have never had the cojones or the wisdom to get on Instagram and TikTok.
It's just
Uh,
it gets to be so much.
I
It
I
does.
I know that there are people even my age that are on there and thriving, but overall it's like an alien planet.
I know.
And I just know
I
I'll make
know.
a fool of myself.
Yeah.
But maybe some TikToker pro can come, Steve, I can TikTok you, and they'll
Yeah.
do it for me. But so I'm
Yeah.
primarily on X. I'm also on Blue Sky.
Hmm.
I haven't done much there. Blue Sky
Hmm.
is still growing. If it gets up to sizable enough, I think I'm able to do more there. But
Yeah.
mostly X. X is still
Yeah.
very valuable resource. Trust me.
Oh, I'm active on it. I like to. We're actually streaming there tonight, and we've got when I checked in, and we appreciate everybody over there on X. We're sitting there probably right now close to 75 people. Just there, and they're shy because they know that they can put their comments, and I will see them here on the board. So everybody's really
Imagine
shy.
somebody on X being shy.
I know. I know. But I love and appreciate them all for listening. So, basically, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. You guys are just awesome. I'm just so grateful when everybody pops in for the time that they take to not just listen, but to comment and just to get involved in the conversation. You have been listening to The Outer Realm with myself, Michelle DeRoche, my special guest, Stephen Bassett. And we're talking disclosure, and it's just different levels. You guys, you have to go check out all the other segments. There's so many amazing segments with Steve, and they're all super informative. So thank you to our sponsors, Folgers Coffee, Justin Snickers, Steve McGinnis. We appreciate you guys so very much. And there we go. Look at that. Thank you. Oh, look at this. Thank you. There we go. There's Cindy. Thank you. I'm here
Hello.
listening and organizing. I love it. See, look at that. We definitely appreciate you. Thank you. So, you've been listening to us again, United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from New Orleans. Next week, guys, we have Tuesday on Beyond the Outer Realm. Join me for an uncensored and sensitive discussion with Deliverance Minister Randy Goodwin, who's going to be talking about his book, Mind Control Programming and SRA Survivors, and his work on occult deliverance and so much more. And you'll figure out pretty quick why it's uncensored. Also, Wednesday, Jason Offutt will be talking about his book, Chasing North American Monsters. So many cryptids out there. Thursday welcomes back my compadre Wayne Malice for another open discussion. Pretty much unexplained everything, mysteries, locations, group mysterious disappearances. It's going to be a mix of a whole lot of things, and it'll be a lot of fun as always. So thank you all. Have a terrific weekend. Thank you, Stephen. It's always such a pleasure when you join me, and super informative. And we'll see you next week, guys. Good night.
Ad Astra.